I'd like to share my story.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
My story. I'll only do the highlights from it. I can't give you the whole story because it's pretty long. I'll share it with you when I finish my book. You'll have a chance to read it in detail. In 1963, I had been pastoring the Mount Vernon Church about 6 or more years. Martin Luther King invited all the ministers all over the country to meet him in Washington, D.C. for a prayer pilgrimage celebration. Mount Vernon raised money for their new pastor. I was still new. To take my first plane flight to Washington, D.C. I went there and joined the several 100,000 people who had gathered from all over the world to listen to Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. do a speech. I had gotten acquainted with Dr. Jesse Jackson, who was then head of Breadbasket in Chicago, Illinois. And talking with him, he was helping to set up the stage for Dr. King and the guests who was going to participate that day in 1963. And I happened to set up the stage, and I got tired with all of that standing and waiting. So I sat on the back of the stage on the floor. Dr. King began to speak. I couldn't see him because all of the crowd was between him and me. But I was on the back of the stage when he made this famous speech, "I have a dream." Little did I know that it would become one of the greatest speeches in all of history of the United States of America and win for him the great Nobel Prize that was bestowed upon him a few years later. That speech was so inspiring until I came back to Memphis with a zeal and an inspiration to make a change in Memphis, Tennessee. We got together and we called some ministers together in 1964. And we met at the Mount Olive